Thank you very much for being here on day 2 of Changes, the LGBTQ Experience in Sports Symposium 2016. My name is Amel Rogers. I am the co-director of the symposium, along with Dr. Evan Brody from the USC Annenberg School. We'd like to thank our host, the USC Annenberg Institute of Sports, Media, and Society, and its director, Dr. Dan Durbin, who's also the professor of the class that meets in this area. And I'd also like to thank my boss, Mr. Murray Kaplan from the USC Annenberg Norman Lear Center, where I work and where we study and shape the impact of entertainment and media on society. And we'd like to thank our very generous sponsor of this symposium, Adidas. Adidas has an amazing booth of free stuff right down here, some cool swag, so please stop by and pick up some of it. And right now, we're going to get everything started with a note from Adidas.
What makes them do it? It's like they woke up one day and thought, hey, why don't I go out and find the most ridiculous physical challenge I can possibly imagine? Sport is a democratic party, and everyone's invited. But the more we play, the more it takes hold of us and never lets go. For some, this is a good thing. But for every sporting hero, there are hundreds
who have betrayed your trust,
who wind up broken by the side of the road.
Gay athletes are athletes.
Sport has the power to change individuals, change us for the better, and lift entire nations. Some athletes go from
storming away
to some people live for the sport, while others, well, sport can crush us, smack us down, and make us wish we'd never fallen in love with it.
Did you ever take banned substances or blood dope?
Yes.
But it could also make us hug entire strangers and cry like babies. Why is this phenomenon we call sport such an important part of life? Because every once in a while, sport rises up and knocks the world off its hinges.
And so now, to start, we have a very special guest from Adidas. I'd like to introduce Zeon Armstrong, the general manager of Adidas America. Zeon leads the brand and commercial channels and has a long and storied global career with Adidas. It seems like he's worked all over the world. And so please welcome Zeon Armstrong to the stage.
Okay, am I on? Good? All right. Thanks for everyone for being here. When you think of diversity, the first memory I have is growing up in West Auckland, and that's not Oakland, that's Auckland with A-U-C-K-L-A-N. So I grew up in New Zealand in a family of 10. So I had 6 sisters and 3 brothers, and trust me, you learn to really embrace diversity. Otherwise, you went very hungry at the dinner table. But our brand mission is through sport that we have the power to change lives, and that's why I've been with the group for over 20 years. I started packing shoes straight out of high school back in New Zealand, and slowly worked my way up and spent time in Germany and Hong Kong and South Korea, and then luckily enough got the call 2 years ago to join our team here in America to turn around our brand. Now, to turn around a brand for me, it's not just about shoes and t-shirts. And if you would ask me what is the most important thing in the world, I would say he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. And that's the people, the people, the people. And what we're doing, starting in Portland and around the world, is really making sure that we have a world-class culture. And when we create a world-class culture, we will be unbeatable. It doesn't matter about the shoes and t-shirts and the marketing, it's about the culture that we create. And so what we're absolutely committed to is making sure that through creativity, through inclusion, and through collaboration, that we really change our culture. And we're seeing that right now. And I don't want to single out someone in this room, but I met one of our employees just recently, and she joined us because of our culture. Had the opportunities to join competitors, but said, no, we're part of a family and we embrace. So that's something I'm very proud about. And when we create that culture, we have the power to change lives. So I want to challenge our global board about through sport. It's actually through Adidas and what we can do to change people's lives. So that's the start. So for me, sport provides a sense of community. You're all so much further than me. I never went to college, and I ended up in track and field for the good reasons. It saved my life. The boys in blue couldn't catch me on my feet, but a four-legged Alsatian did catch me. And I'm sharing a very personal story with you because I think it's so important that through a situation where I was going off the rails, I met a wonderful man who changed my life. He was the chief of police for my community, and he said, "You're a fast kid because you ran away from one of the fastest guys in the country." I then went on to be the national champion 400-metre hurdles and represented the country for around 10 years. So I think it's really important that I wasn't judged. And so here I am today running our largest subsidiary in the world, and I learned everything from the street up. So the opportunity that you have in this amazing facility is beyond anything that I've ever seen. So for me, sport changed my life, and we want to make sure that we make that a key part of our brand mission. We are an extremely inclusive brand. We're constantly working to create an environment that is extremely open. We've started this, being truly honestly, the last 2 or 3 years. We're getting some great results, but it's not enough. We're just at the starting point. So today I'm proud, but the word I want to use is actually I'm privileged to speak on behalf of 55,000 Adidas Group employees worldwide that's standing behind this. It's not just a Zeon initiative or USA initiative, it's from the headquarters throughout our entire team. So we know we need to do a lot more, especially in today's environment. We have to come together to celebrate humanity and the collective diversity of the world. And the next couple of slides, I'm going to show you what we're actually doing about that versus just having words on slides. Ultimately, it's our responsibility to make sport a safe place for all and give the LGBTQ a voice through sport. So some of these stories, I'm going to start with Jesse Owens. Not only did he overcome obstacles here in America, but in 1936 at the Berlin Olympics, adidas, our founder, had the courage to provide him his track and field shoes. And this was at a time that Germany was rising to their power. So we all know the history of that. But adidas, our founder, made sure that we embraced diversity, whether it was Jesse Owens or whether it was Muhammad Ali. So that was the first stage of our founder, and one of the values that we still embrace today is to make sure that we don't care where you come from, your background. We're here to make you a better athlete. Coming across the page, Jackie Robertson, and extraordinary things happen through sport. So I know Jackie didn't go to USC, but a school in this area. He was the first African American to play in Major League Baseball. So last year, this is the cleat in your right-hand corner that we designed and built, and we provide to the UCLA Bruins to make sure that we honour that and keep his tradition alive. Then we come across here to the Superstar, which is our most iconic shoe in the brand's history, and we're a very old brand. The shoe was actually born in 1969. Multiple players have worn that shoe, be it Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the list is extensive. But in 1969, at the Stonewall Bar in New York, was when the riot happened. And so last year with the Pride Pack, what we did is we celebrated that in 1969, the riot around the LGBT community, which was not embraced back then. We imagined what happened at that bar, and the day it came out and it had been raining, that these were the colours that the community was trying to embrace. So we designed the shoe again, taking those colours, bringing that story to life, and making sure that we gave back to the community. It's sold out within seconds around the world, but for us this wasn't about a marketing ploy. This was about making a stand. And in our village, you're going to see a picture, we have 2 giant superstars and we painted the superstars to make sure that we stand for this. We also donated 250,000 euros to support awareness of LGBT in sports around the world out of the profits that we made out of that initiative. And last but not least, Pharrell Williams. We all know who he is, right? I listen to country music, I'm getting a little bit too old, but apparently he's a pretty good artist. But we've launched something called the Hue, which is the Human Collection. And this explores humanity, it celebrates diversity around the world. And it was through Pharrell's vision of connecting people through love, passion, energy and colour. So this is just the start of where we're going to go to make sure that we bring diversity to the marketplace, but with people that live it through their heart, not through a target or a quota that we're trying to achieve. So here's some examples of what we're doing to bring this to life. Importantly, obviously it starts at corporate, and for the last 2 years in a row, how we've made an impact, the Human Rights Corporate Equality Index, we've scored 100 out of 100. So we're super proud of this. And this is not just in America, this is now around the world. And that's really where we go through an audit process to make sure that are we truly embracing this and giving back. So something we're very proud about, but we're not going to settle. This is not good enough. How do we get 110? I don't know yet, but we're going to make sure we get better. One of the things that we've done is we've put a new clause into our athletes or partnerships or federations contracts around the world. And it's no negotiation, that you can't discriminate against any athlete. So that's in every single one of our contracts, and we all stand by that. If there's any athletes that disagree with that or federations, then we all cut the contract. So no negotiations, and we're very proud about that as well. This one brings a real smile to my face. And please don't take this the wrong way, because I respect our competitors with everything. But on Valentine's Day this year, we posted this through our newsrooms. And I've got some numbers here because I couldn't remember them off the top of my head. But we shared this image of two women suggesting an off-kiss on Instagram. It became the most successful post in our history. Incredible. There was a lot of negativity in there as well, and one consumer came in and said, "Hey Adidas, why are you doing this? I don't believe in this. I'm going to go and buy Nike." So we blew a kiss and waved goodbye. So again, it was like, it's not about a competitor, but it was about embracing everyone and making sure love was the key message. So here's some more examples of what we're doing to really make sure that we become a better company. This is the photo of our village. So the superstars during the Pride Pack early this year, we launched it, and it was truly, I've been 20 years with the group, it was such a cool day to see everyone really embracing this. So for me now, it's a great honour to invite to the stage to give us more insights about his experience of being an LGBT athlete in the NFL. Please welcome Esera Tuaolo. I've got that right. So the first thing I'm going to do is ask Esera if he doesn't mind in May next year to join me in Phuket for an old man's rugby tournament, because we need a bit more size in our team. So no pressure, but you're in, right?
I am.
All right. So
how you guys doing? Good? Thanks for being here.
Talofa lava.
Talofa lava.
For those who don't know, in Auckland, it's actually the biggest Pacific Island melting pot in the world. Yep. So a lot of my friends are Samoans or Tongans or Fijians. So grew up with guys like this, just amazing athletes. And I've got to say one thing just from the heart, just super proud of what you've done. Take my hat off to you. Really, really impressive. You know,
I appreciate that, I really do.
I grew up playing rugby, which is a little bit harder than NFL. We don't wear pads and helmets, so we don't need that stuff. Just make sure.
I mean, I grew up playing rugby as well, so it didn't pay the bills. Sorry. But in rugby, it's a very chauvinistic, male-dominated, hardcore sport. So tell us about what it was like being in the locker room at that time. It was very difficult, right? Because anytime that you're living a lie, it's always difficult. It's always difficult. And for me, it was just hard being in an environment, a masculine environment that showed so much hate for who I truly was.
So anytime the topic of homosexuality would come up into the locker rooms, it was always something negative. And let me tell you this, I did a lot of sacrifices in my life, starting when I was a little kid, just to get where I'm at today, right? And to know that all of that could have been taken away just by somebody starting a rumor about me or outing me was very devastated. And then let me just even take it further back. I'm the youngest of 8 children in my family. And we grew up very poor. I grew up in a shack, and when I say a shack, literally a shack with a dirt floor until my dad could afford to build our home. So I grew up in that type of environment, and to make sacrifices to get to the point where I'm in the NFL, and it was very difficult for me because I was holding this crippling secret inside, right? This crippling secret that I knew that if somebody would find out about me back then, and I'm talking, this is back in 1986 when I went to college, and then I got drafted into the NFL in 1991. And so the environment, it was definitely not a good one. Because like I said earlier, anytime the topic of homosexuality would come up, it was always negative. I remember one time sitting in my locker, and somebody from across, started the rumor about Troy Aikman. You guys are probably too young to know about Troy Aikman, but he was a quarterback for the Cowboys. That he was gay, and that can I swear? I can't swear here, right? Or, I don't know. Well, anyway, the things that they said about Troy Aikman in that locker room, and then after that, they were coming down the line and be like, wow, you must be gay, right? Because you don't hang out with us, or you must be gay because you don't have a girlfriend, right? Or you must be gay because you don't come to the strip clubs with us, right? It was just like going on and on until John Randall called somebody else a faggot. And let me tell you, the hate and the rage that was in that guy's face just because somebody called him a fucking faggot. He rushed John Randall, and but I was thinking to myself, right, as they're coming down the line, and I was thinking to myself, like, wow, what if they asked me, right? And I was literally about to tear up because they were talking about me. Right? And so all the years that I sacrificed hearing all that bullshit, right, about who I was from high school to college and going into the NFL and hearing all that bullshit about who I truly was, all the things, but excuse me, right? I line up every single Saturday with you. I lined up every single Sunday with you, and we go to war, right? I got your back, you got my back. And the only thing that differentiates me from you is who I decide to give my heart to, right? So as they're coming down, and to tell you the truth, if it would have got to me, I'm not sure what I would have done. I probably would have broke down, but it was just one of those things where I saw hate, and every time the topic would come up, it was like that.
Awesome. Thanks for being so honest with us. When did you first know?
Oh.
I'm going to throw these away because I just want to speak for them.
Yeah. When did I first know? I believe I was born this way. I do. I really do. I think I first knew when I was a young kid, like maybe 5 or even younger, or 5 or 6 years old, 6 or something like that. And friends of mine was beating up this kid on the playground, right? They was calling him Fakalati, right? Fafafini, right? Calling him all these names, spitting on him and throwing rocks at him. And I walked up to my friend. I was like, you know what? Like, what are you doing? And well, he likes playing with his sister's dolls. He likes boys, right? He likes dressing up. He likes hanging with the girls. And that's when I didn't know what I didn't know what the definition of what it was. But when I saw that and the way they were treating this kid, because I like play with my sister's dolls, right? I wanted to, play dress up with them, hang with the girls, I wanted that easy bake oven that I never got. You guys don't even know what an easy bake oven is, right? I think they call it microwave now. Instant cake, right? But that was like a light bulb, like cooking. Well, anyway, long story short. And so that's when I tell people, that's when I took that child within me, the child that we have within all of us. I took that child and I threw him in the closet. right? And so that was the day when Esera Tuaolo had to be bigger and stronger and faster, so no one would call me a fucking faggot, right? No one would throw rocks at me.
Would you change anything now when you look back? Would you back into that locker room when that teammate said the horrible things?
You know, to tell you the truth, like when you're in the closet, you are living on this island. Like you don't know anything around you. I was so afraid to like type in the word gay in the computers in college because I thought it would come back to me. That's how paranoid I was. But you know, back then we had dial-up, so you guys don't know anything about dial-up. You know, but to tell you the truth, I've been speaking for the last 15 years. I've gone around the country and speaking on homophobia in sports and the knowledge that I know now, everything that I know now, the support that when I came out I got, things that you know that was the unknown just seemed to be known to me now, and all the support. Yes, I would have changed it all. I would have came out when I was still playing.
So when you look into today's sporting environment and that locker room, how do you think the teams would react today?
Oh gosh, a lot better than when they would react back in the days when I was playing, or even further than that. I think you know, the positive thing now is anytime somebody lashes out, right? They call somebody a fag or a queer or homo, coaches, players, or whoever that's in the program, they're held accountable for their actions, and we've seen it all on the news and television, right? How people they hold them accountable. So you know, sometimes we get the sincere apologies, right, and then sometimes we don't, right? We get the generic stuff, you know. But yeah, things have definitely changed since when I played.
And what would you say to a brand like ourselves? What can we do more to make a difference?
You know, it's funny, just watching that video. I love the fact that you guys are combining the history along with everything, right? Because that's, for me, that's power, right? Like we talked about earlier, you know, about the shoe. Like I kind of teared up when they were telling me about the shoe, because a lot of the younger LGBT generation do not understand or realize where the war started, right? They don't understand that you have to go and learn your history in order to be proud of something. Right. For me, it's a cultural thing as well. Me being Samoan, you know, from Samoa, it's always been that you know that the proudness and you know. But I think continue to do what you guys are doing and combining and just putting forth the knowledge out there for people to learn and to understand. Because anytime that you put something on the table, right, to be talked about, that's when I think like the healing starts. That's when I think. That's when the discussion starts, and that's when we can move forward.
Awesome. So you're doing a lot right now since you retired. It doesn't look like you're retired, by the way. Looking forward to you joining us in the rugby team next year. You've got to pay your own ways, by the way. Did I tell you that? Can you share with the audience some of the work that you're involved with, what you're doing today, and also what are you most proud of with that work?
You know, I'm proud of a lot of things. You know, when I retired from football back in 2000. I'm doing everything that I'm passionate about, right? And I'm a chef, right? I just recorded a cooking show. Hopefully it'll get picked up. I love to cook. And you know, after living in that whole chaotic masculinity environment, you have to find something to kind of balance yourself, right? And for me, it was cooking, right? And then also, I'm a singer. My record label is out of Chicago, and I sing like a big black woman. And I have a couple. You know, I've done national anthems for every single team that I played for. This 3 weeks ago, I did it for the Vikings in the new stadium, which was amazing. So I sing, and I think music kind of helps. Music can alter your mood, right? I mean, you could have the worst day ever in class or whatever. You go home and you pop in your favorite song. For me, it's Etta James, right? And you just kind of you just fall into that zone, that peaceful zone. And then also, I wrote a book called Alone in the Trenches. And when they asked me to do it, I said, why? You know, because I was so young. I was like, how can I write a book about my life? And you know, I'm still living my life. But I got over like 1 million emails from people from around the world saying how my story had encouraged them. So I just felt that it was probably a good idea to do that. And it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life because I had to go and open up all those doors and talk about everything. And that's what I did. So that child that I put into the closet, when I said the words for the first time that I was gay, I could go back out, open that door, and let him out, and it was absolutely amazing. I go around the country and I speak on homophobia in sports. But the thing that I'm most proud of is I have this organization called Hating Uniform is Wrong. It's an anti-bullying program that we do, and we go around the country, and I speak on bullying and anti-bullying, and it's absolutely amazing to try to make a difference. And what I try to do, somebody just asked me on the way here, so what the message that you want to get out? And for me, it's about helping kids, young kids, find their voices. So the thing below your nose and above your chin is called a mouth. I try to encourage them to use it and to gain their power back. And that's how you gain your power back, when you find your voice and you scream and you yell and all of that, right? I think a lot of people, a lot of these kids, they lose their voices, you know. And so when you lose your voice, you kind of lose your self-esteem and everything else. But I go out there and I try to find their voices for me. And the big question I get, why were you talking about this topic? You weren't bullied. Well, I was informed I was molested many times when I was growing up. So I know how it feels to be degraded. I know how it feels to be not wanted. I know how it feels to be all that. And that's the reason why I do what I do, because I don't want any of those kids to feel the same way I do. So that's what I do.
You're an inspiration, that's for sure. What advice do you have for straight athletes and fans to create a more inclusive environment?
You know, our allies are, we need our allies. We need people to speak up for us, and we need people to stand with us and walk forward with us, because I think that's how we're going to move forward with the LGBT community. So,
wonderful. I think I've got one bone to pick with you.
Okay, cool.
Kat's father is a Vikings fan. And apparently back in the days, you guys knocked them out to make the Super Bowl.
Oh, yes. The ring I have on is, I was with Atlanta. Well, I got kicked okay, let me back up, okay? I got kicked to the curb in '97 by the Vikings, and then Atlanta picked me up in '98, and we went back, and we had a sweet revenge, and we beat them to go to the Super Bowl. And I had a huge part in that because I told them all the weaknesses that the Vikings had.
You can call your dad now? I've done the job, right?
And I apologize. So. But I live in Minnesota, so you know where my heart lies, right? I mean, hello.
Now. One last thing to
Yes.
the audience. What would you like to share?
You guys are all here for a reason, a purpose, right? And I just hope that what you have learned in these couple days that about the LGBT community, sports, and whatever, that when you walk out this door, you don't just throw it into the trash, right? Because there will be a day when you be confronted, or you have an incident where you can use all of this, right? You are the future leaders of America, right? And I just want you guys to know that we can all make a difference by using your voice.
Awesome. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure
Such an
to meet you.
inspiration.